that the bowel will go in, but it will have difficulty getting back into the abdominal cavity. This is when it becomes irreducible. Irreducible in the sense there is not much of swelling there. The next stage of irreducibility is obstruction, where there is good amount of swelling. And the next stage after that is strangulation, where the blood supply of the viscous, that is either the small bowel, large bowel, or the part of the viscous, that is the omentum, can get compromised and lead to gangrenous changes. So if it is an indirect hernia, one should always opt for an early operation.
Can hernia be termed as a swelling?
Pardon?
Can hernia be termed as a swelling?
Yeah, it is a swelling.
Now,
It is a swelling.
then how would you differentiate a swelling due to hernia as against a tumor?
A hernia swelling is a reducible swelling.
Whereas a tumor is not.
No, a tumor is
It just
yeah,
enlarges.
it's a mass.
Because it will take some time
No,
to come to know about it.
About?
Isn't it? It is swelling, the rate of swelling.
no, a hernia swelling is a very obvious swelling.
Is it?
A very obvious swelling. In children, of course, we have to depend upon the mother, the parent telling us that there is a swelling in the inguinal region, because it doesn't manifest all the time. But on the basis of the parent's version, we have to conclude that there is a hernial swelling, especially in children. In adults, it's a very obvious swelling.
How does one come to know that you have reached the stage of irreducible and then it has reached the stage obstructive?
Yeah, an irreducible hernia will
How
not.
does one know?
Yeah, he will know. He'll come to know if the swelling does not reduce on lying down, at rest. If it doesn't reduce at rest or on lying down, then it's an irreducible hernia. And if it starts getting painful, then one should always think in terms of an obstructive hernia. Because if the omentum, as I told you, the apron, if it goes into the hernial sac, it will remain there, but it will not be painful unless it gets obstructed. So that's an irreducible hernia. If the omentum goes there, it becomes very difficult to reduce it. So that's an irreducible hernia. Obstructed, the person will start getting pain. Sometimes the swelling also will become red.
But does this involve the bloating of the stomach also?
Yes, it will. Because if this is the bowel, right? So there will be what we call as the one loop going this way and one loop coming here. Okay? Now this is the part which goes into the sac.
Okay.
And this gets obstructed. So if it gets obstructed, now there are intestinal fluids which are continuously being secreted in our small bowel, large bowel for digestion and everything. It's continuously going on. So these intestinal fluids will not be able to go down. And therefore, this will keep on distending. And the patient will feel a little bloated.
And you get
So-
indigestion also.
Pardon?
You also get indigestion
Yes,
due
yes.
to the digestion
Right.
juices not working.
Right. And it is nature's rule. If there is an obstruction over here, the nature will try to get over that obstruction. And that will result in you getting cramps. What a person will experience cramp, because see, this is an obstruction. And nature is trying to get over that obstruction. So we normally have intestinal peristalsis. If you notice, our bowel is always on the move. It has got an intrinsic motility. It will always be going ahead. There is an intrinsic motility. It's like an earthworm, if you notice. It's always going ahead. Similarly, if you open the abdomen and you see the bowel, you will always find waves because of intestinal motility. And if there is an obstruction over here, this in the first phase, the motility will increase, and that increased motility will give rise to intestinal colic. And it will keep on trying. Eventually, just as a person gets tired, or if a horse is beaten, or if a disease horse is beaten, for some time he will keep on running, but then he stops. Similarly over here, the intestines will try to force its way in order to remove this obstruction, but there is no way this obstruction can be relieved because it is all fixed over here, and then eventually it will be paralyzed. That is what we call as a paralytic ileus. Okay, paralytic ileus. And along with the paralytic ileus, what is happening? The intestinal juices which are being manufactured within the intestine, there will be no way for them to escape, and therefore the bowel will become distended. Not hardened, because our bowel has a very good musculature, it has got very good elasticity. So it will get distended, and then the bloating and the abdominal distension. So all these things take place in obstruction of
What is the
sphincter.
corrective measure in this case? In the case of bloating and distension,
We have to relieve the cause.
how do you do that?
Operate on the hernia. We have to do an emergency procedure, operate on the hernia, relieve the obstruction. And as I told you, if it has gone to the stage of strangulation, and if a segment of the bowel is strangulated, that means it has become black, or it has become devitalized. We see that after putting in hot mops, mops are, abdominal sponges made up of cotton. They are put on that, and if we see that they don't become red, they remain dull, or they are black and the black color doesn't change, or the dull color doesn't change, then we have to resect that part of the bowel and join the remaining part of the bowel.
So that part becomes the affected part,
Yes,
which you dissect.
which you excise.
And how do you, is there some kind of way of checking this? How does one get to know whether you've reached that stage?
Whether
Is there any way to test it that you've reached that stage to go for an operation or surgery?
that is what I told you. If it gets obstructed, you will start getting pain. The hernia, which earlier was reducible, will not reduce. There will be pain over the swelling. And if you continue not taking the right treatment, then there will be bloating of the abdomen. You will get colicky pain. And the patient will become more and more toxic.
So what are the general symptoms for the layman? How will come to know? That's the question. General symptoms. What will happen? Pain, swelling.
The first and foremost is the hernia will not reduce. See, earlier, if it's an indirect hernia, and all along you have been noticing that if you take rest, if you lie down, the hernia vanishes. The hernial sac goes
The
out.
question is symptoms.
The root question is, how do you detect it's happening, it's starting? That's the root
It will be
question.
painful.
Yeah, so it's observation.
The swelling will not be reducible. You will get abdominal pain. You might even vomit.
There will be discomfort,
Yeah, discomfort.
and that discomfort will lead you to feel that something is wrong, and then
Exactly.
you go in for the normal.
Yeah, and you might vomit also.
Does hernia ever occur in the testicles as well?
What you get in the testicles is a torsion of the testes.
A torsion?
Of the testes.
How would you
Now,
explain
as I
that?
told you, in children, the congenital type, if the sac is not obliterated, it will go right up to the scrotum, and so it will be an inguinoscrotal swelling. Because the swelling will not be restricted only to the inguinal region, it will go right up to the scrotum. So that's an inguinoscrotal swelling. Now herniation of the testis, it is a torsion of the testis. Now in children and even in adults up to the age of 30, 40, now in the inguinal canal you have the spermatic cord. Okay. The spermatic cord is here, goes here, and along with that you have the vas. You have the vas then becomes the epididymis, and then the testis. And you have the cord, the spermatic cord, which supplies the vessels to the testis, to the vas, to the epididymis. Now, if this testis is of the type that with even a little amount of excitement or even if a person strains a little, the testis, if you notice normally, it tends to go up. If a person is scared, the testis turns to go up. Okay, that is the reflex. Now, in certain cases, this testis can go around the spermatic cord. The spermatic cord, it can cause a twist and stay at that particular state. And if that twist takes place, the blood supply to the testis is cut off. And because it is cut off, the testis becomes black. And that is what we call as the torsion of the testis. And if one comes to know if the person presents with sudden onset of pain in the testis on that particular side is slightly higher, then in such a case one should do a flow study, that is Doppler studies, to find out the condition of the spermatic cord. And if you go in within the first 6 to 8 hours, you can untwist that particular torsion and fix the testis down here so that it doesn't rotate again, it doesn't undergo torsion again, and correct it. But if it goes beyond 8 to 12 hours, it is likely that the blood